The diplomatic ship Harmony's Edge floated in the empty space between Earth and the Trilaxian homeworld. Ambassador Hyun checked his uniform one more time before walking into the meeting room. Today was the most important day in human history. After years of radio signals and careful planning, humans would finally meet aliens face to face. The meeting room was huge and white, with a long table in the center. On one side sat the human delegation. Hyun led the group, with scientist Jin on his right and military officer Kang on his left. Dr. Nari sat next to Jin, her hands full of data tablets showing Earth's achievements. They had prepared for this moment for months. The doors on the far side opened with a soft hiss. 3 tall, thin figures walked in. The Trilaxians looked nothing like humans. Their skin was pale blue and seemed to glow slightly. They had large black eyes and long fingers that moved like water. Their leader, Commander Vextal, wore flowing robes that seemed to float around his body. "Welcome," Vextal said, his voice musical and strange. "We are honored to meet the people of Earth." Hyun stood up and bowed slightly. "The honor is ours, Commander. Humanity has dreamed of this day for generations." The first hour went perfectly. Jin showed the aliens pictures of human cities, while Nari explained how humans had learned to travel between stars. The Trilaxians seemed impressed by human creativity. They asked many questions about art, music, and literature. Kang stayed quiet as planned, since the aliens seemed uncomfortable with military topics. "Your species has achieved much in a short time," Vextal observed. "Most species take twice as long to reach space travel." "Humans are good at solving problems," Hyun replied with pride. Dr. Nari noticed something odd during the presentation. Every time she looked up at the aliens, they were staring at the humans' faces, especially their eyes. When she caught them looking, they would quickly look away. She wondered if humans looked as strange to them as they looked to humans. The trouble started during the lunch break. The ship's gravity system began making weird noises. Suddenly, alarms started ringing throughout the vessel. The artificial gravity failed in sections of the ship and emergency lights began flashing red. "Please remain calm," came an announcement over the ship's speakers. "We are experiencing technical difficulties." But remaining calm became impossible when they heard screaming from the corridor outside. Something had gone wrong in the ship's main hallway. A support beam had fallen when the gravity failed, trapping several crew members underneath. Kang was the first to move. "We need to help them," he said, running toward the door. The humans rushed into the hallway and found chaos. 3 Trilaxian crew members were trapped under a heavy metal beam. Blue blood was pooling on the floor around them. One human engineer was also trapped, and red blood was flowing from a cut on his head. The smell hit them immediately. The metallic scent of blood filled the air. Jin felt his heart rate increase. His breathing became deeper. Without thinking, his body began preparing for action. The same thing happened to all the humans. Their pupils grew larger, taking in more light. Their muscles tensed. Ancient instincts that had kept their ancestors alive for millions of years suddenly activated. Kang grabbed one end of the beam. "Jin, Nari, help me lift this." The 3 humans worked together with incredible strength and speed. They lifted the heavy beam as if it weighed nothing. Hyun immediately began checking the injured, his hands steady and sure as he stopped bleeding and checked for broken bones. The Trilaxians who could still move backed away from the humans in terror. They had never seen anything like this before. The humans had completely changed. Their eyes were different. The black centers were much larger, making them look wild and dangerous. They moved differently too, like hunters instead of diplomats. "What is happening to them?" whispered one of the Trilaxian observers. Dr. Nari was bandaging the human engineer's head wound when she noticed the aliens staring at them. She looked up and saw fear in their large black eyes. "We're just helping the injured," she said softly. But the aliens continued to back away. They watched as the humans worked with frightening efficiency. Every movement was quick and precise. The humans seemed to know exactly what to do, as if they had done this many times before. Commander Vextal watched Kang carefully examine one of the injured Trilaxians. The human's pupils were still dilated, and there was something in his expression that made Vextal's skin crawl. It was the look of a predator. The way Kang moved reminded him of the dangerous animals from his homeworld, the ones that hunted other creatures for food. "Are you all right?" Hyun asked Vextal, noticing the alien's distress. "Yes," Vextal lied. "Thank you for your assistance." But inside, Vextal was not all right. None of the Trilaxians were. They had just witnessed something that went against everything they believed about intelligent life. Civilized beings were supposed to be calm and peaceful. They were supposed to think before acting. They were not supposed to transform into something else at the smell of blood. After the injured were taken to the medical bay, the humans returned to the meeting room. Their pupils had returned to normal size and they seemed calm again. But the Trilaxians could not forget what they had seen. "I apologize for the interruption," Yun said, sitting back down at the table. "Where were we?" Vextal tried to continue the meeting, but his mind kept returning to those changed human faces. The way their eyes had grown dark and wide. The way they had moved with such deadly grace. The way they had seemed almost excited by the emergency. "Commander Vextal," Dr. Nari said, "you seem troubled. Did we do something wrong?" "No," Vextal replied quickly. "Your people acted with great skill, but that was exactly the problem. The humans had acted with too much skill. They had been too good at dealing with blood and injury. It was as if they had practiced for such situations their whole lives." The meeting ended earlier than planned. The Trilaxians said they needed time to process what they had learned about humanity. They promised to contact Earth soon with their decision about joining the Galactic Council. As the humans prepared to return to Earth, they had no idea that their simple act of helping the injured had revealed something terrifying about their species. They did not know that the aliens were already sending urgent messages to other worlds, warning them about the predators who called themselves humans. Hyun felt good about the meeting. Despite the accident, he believed they had made a good impression. "I think they liked us," he told his team as they boarded their shuttle. But on the Trilaxian ship, Vextal was recording a very different message. "The humans are not what they appear to be." He spoke into his communication device. "They are something far more dangerous. When they smell blood, they change. Their eyes become like those of hunting beasts. I believe we have made contact with a species of predators. The message would reach the Galactic Council in 3 days. It would change everything." Dr. Yoon stood before the Galactic Council, her blue skin pale with worry. The Great Assembly Hall held representatives from 47 different species, all waiting to hear her report about the humans. She had spent weeks studying the data from the first contact mission, and what she had discovered kept her awake at night. "Honored council members," she began, her voice shaking slightly, "I must report that the species calling themselves humans pose a significant threat to galactic peace." Murmurs filled the hall. Commander Rothai of the Stellar Peacekeepers leaned forward in his seat. "Explain, Dr. Yoon, what makes you believe this?" Dr. Yoon activated her holographic display. Images of human anatomy appeared in the air above the assembly. "The humans come from what they call Earth, but our analysis shows it is actually a death world. The gravity is crushing. The atmosphere is corrosive. Dangerous predators roam everywhere." She changed the display to show human eyes. "Look at these organs. They are designed for hunting. The pupils can change size instantly to track prey in different light conditions. When humans sense blood, their bodies automatically prepare for violence. Their hearts pump faster. Their muscles become stronger. They become killing machines." The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Most of them came from peaceful worlds where such adaptations were unnecessary. "But surely," interrupted Senator Zelmos, "any intelligent species would have evolved beyond such primitive responses." Dr. Yoon shook her head sadly. "That is what we hoped, but our investigation shows otherwise. Commander Rothai, please share what you have discovered about human history." Commander Rothai stood up, his forearms gesturing to new images in the hologram. "We intercepted human communication signals going back hundreds of years. What we found horrifies us." The display showed scenes from human movies, television shows, and news broadcasts. Images of war, boxing matches, gladiator fights, and hunting filled the air. The council watched in shock as humans fought each other with weapons, cheered as warriors battled in arenas, and celebrated violence as entertainment. "They call it sports," Rothai explained. "Humans organize competitions where they deliberately hurt each other. They pay money to watch beings fight until one can no longer continue. They hunt other creatures for pleasure, not just for food." The hologram showed human soldiers in combat, their faces showing the same expression the Trilaxians had witnessed, dilated pupils and focused intensity. "They have fought wars continuously for their entire recorded history. When one war ends, they prepare for the next. They have weapons that can destroy entire cities. Dr. Yoon took control again. Most disturbing of all, they seem to enjoy conflict. Their literature glorifies warriors. Their children play games that simulate battle. They have created an entire culture around the concept of violence. On Earth, Dr. Han was working late in his laboratory, unaware of the debate happening light years away. He was excited about the successful first contact and was preparing new technologies to share with their alien friends. His research focused on medical advances, space exploration, and communication systems. Captain Lee entered the lab carrying a datapad with a worried expression. Dr. Han, we're receiving some strange signals from deep space. Multiple alien fleets are moving in our direction. Dr. Han looked up from his work. Moving toward Earth? That's wonderful. Maybe they want to visit us, but Captain Lee did not look happy. Sir, these aren't exploration ships. Our computers identify them as military vessels, and there are a lot of them. Meanwhile, back at the Galactic Council, the debate was becoming heated. Dr. Yoon continued her presentation with more disturbing evidence. Analysis of human DNA shows they evolved from persistence hunters, she explained. Their ancestors would chase prey for days until the animals collapsed from exhaustion. They are literally designed to never give up, never surrender, and never stop hunting. The hologram showed human athletes running marathons, their faces showing determination and pain but refusing to quit. Even their recreational activities demonstrate this predatory persistence. They run for dozens of kilometers just for pleasure. They climb impossible mountains. They dive to crushing depths in their oceans. They seem to seek out danger and suffering. Senator Zelmo spoke again. But they appeared peaceful during first contact. Surely their intelligence has overcome their primitive nature. Commander Rothai laughed bitterly. Their intelligence makes them more dangerous, not less. Look at their technological development. New images appeared showing human military technology. In less than 70 years, they went from simple flying machines to weapons that harness the power of atoms. They developed these weapons not for peaceful purposes, but to kill each other more efficiently. Dr. Yoon nodded gravely. Every human invention has been weaponized. They invented rockets to explore space, but first they used them as missiles. They developed computers to solve problems, but first they used them to aim weapons. They discovered atomic energy, and their first use was to destroy 2 of their own cities. The council chamber fell silent as members absorbed this information. These humans were not like any species they had encountered before. Most civilizations develop technology slowly and peacefully. They learn to cooperate before they learn to destroy. But humans seem to do everything backwards. There is more, Dr. Yoon continued. We analyze their entertainment media more carefully. They create fictional stories about creatures they call monsters and aliens. In almost every story, the humans defeat these creatures through violence. They seem to imagine that the universe is full of enemies waiting to be fought. Commander Rothai stood again. The most disturbing evidence comes from their own history books. When human groups encountered each other for the first time, they almost always fought. They conquered and enslaved each other. They took resources by force. Why would they treat alien species any differently? The evidence was overwhelming. The humans had hidden their true nature during first contact. They had sent diplomats and scientists, but behind them was a species of predators who had conquered their own world through endless warfare. What do you recommend? Asked the council speaker. Dr. Yoon looked around the assembly hall at the peaceful faces of 47 different species. They were scholars, artists, philosophers, and explorers. None of them had evolved the capacity for the kind of violence humans considered normal. The humans represent an existential threat to galactic civilization, she said finally. They are apex predators who have learned to use technology. If we allow them to spread throughout the galaxy, they will dominate or destroy every peaceful species they encounter. Commander Rothai nodded in agreement. I recommend immediate action. We must contain this threat before it grows beyond our ability to control. The vote was swift and unanimous. 47 species agreed that humanity must be stopped. They would send a fleet to Earth with a simple message: surrender or be destroyed. None of them understood that they were about to make the greatest mistake in galactic history. They were about to prove to the humans that the universe really was full of enemies waiting to be fought, and humans, as their own history had shown, were very good at fighting enemies. Dr. Han was still working in his lab when the alien fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system. He was developing new medicines that could help both humans and aliens live longer, healthier lives. He had no idea that his peaceful research would soon be interrupted by the sound of war alarms. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of the human battleship Soul's Pride when the alien fleet appeared on their sensors. 12 different species had joined together to form the largest military force the galaxy had ever seen. 3,000 ships hung in space just outside Earth's solar system, their weapons pointed toward humanity's homeworld. "Sir," called out Communications Officer Min, "we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet." "Put it on screen," Admiral Park ordered. The face of Commander Rotheye appeared on the main display. His forearms were spread wide in what humans would later learn was a gesture of authority among his people. "Humans of Earth," he announced, "you have been judged a threat to galactic peace. You will surrender immediately and submit to containment, or you will be destroyed." Admiral Park felt his heart rate increase. His pupils began to dilate as his body prepared for combat. Around him, the human crew experienced the same physiological changes, but they also felt something else: excitement. For the first time in generations, humanity faced a real threat that required their full attention. "Open a channel," Admiral Park commanded. When the connection was established, he looked directly at Commander Rotheye. "This is Admiral Park of the Human Defense Fleet. You have entered our solar system with hostile intent. You have 30 minutes to withdraw, or we will consider you an invading force." Commander Rotheye was shocked by the humans' response. Any rational species would surrender when faced with such overwhelming odds. "You cannot win this battle," he said. "We outnumber your ships 50 to 1. Admiral Park smiled, and the expression sent chills through every alien watching. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just spotted prey. "Then it will be a fair fight." The transmission ended. Admiral Park turned to his crew, all of whom now showed the telltale signs of human combat readiness: dilated pupils, increased breathing, and focused intensity. "All ships prepare for battle. Remember your training. These aliens have made a mistake, and we're going to teach them why humans are apex predators." Captain Ko commanded the destroyer Busan's Hammer on the fleet's right flank. As the alien ships moved into attack formation, she watched her crew prepare for combat with the efficiency that had made humans the dominant species on Earth. Every movement was precise. Every order was followed instantly. They moved like a pack of wolves preparing to hunt. "Weapons online," reported Tactical Officer Sung. "All systems ready." Captain Ko nodded. "Wait for the Admiral's signal. When this starts, remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting to show these aliens what happens when they threaten a human's family." The first shots came from the alien fleet. Beams of energy streaked across space, striking human ships with devastating force. The aliens expected the humans to retreat or at least hesitate. Instead, they witnessed something that would haunt their nightmares for generations. The humans attacked. Admiral Park's voice crackled over the communication system. "All ships, engage. Show them what they've awakened." The human fleet moved with coordination that seemed impossible. Ships that should have been destroyed by the alien barrage continued fighting. Human crews worked through injuries that would have incapacitated other species. When their main weapons were damaged, they improvised with mining tools, construction equipment, and anything else they could weaponize. Captain Ko's ship took a direct hit that tore through the hull. Atmosphere rushed out into space, and several crew members were injured. But instead of withdrawing, Captain Ko ordered a ramming attack against the alien cruiser that had damaged them. "Ma'am," Tactical Officer Sung said, blood running down his face from a head wound. "Collision course locked in. All hands." "Brace for impact," Captain Ko announced. As her ship slammed into the alien vessel, she could see the shocked faces of the alien crew through their bridge windows. They could not understand why humans would choose to destroy themselves just to damage an enemy. But the most shocking moment came when human boarding parties began attacking alien ships directly. Lieutenant Nam led a squad of Marines onto a Trilaxian vessel through a breach blown in their hull. What the aliens witnessed there would change their understanding of warfare forever. The Trilaxians were prepared for energy weapon combat. They had shields and barriers designed to stop beams and projectiles. But they were not prepared for humans who used plasma cutters as swords, who turned gravity hammers into clubs, and who fought with their bare hands when they ran out of weapons. Lieutenant Nam cornered a group of Trilaxian soldiers in their own ship's corridor. His pupils were fully dilated, and his breathing was heavy from combat. Blood from a minor wound on his arm dripped onto the floor, and the smell seemed to make him stronger rather than weaker. "Surrender," he told the aliens, holding a piece of broken metal that he had turned into a blade. The Trilaxians looked into his eyes and saw something that terrified them more than death itself. They saw a creature that was designed to hunt, to kill, and to never stop fighting. They dropped their weapons and collapsed in submission. This scene was repeated throughout the battle. Humans who should have been overwhelmed by superior numbers and technology instead adapted their tactics moment by moment. They used the aliens' peaceful nature against them. They turned the aliens' own technology into weapons. They fought with a creativity and brutality that the galaxy had never seen. Commander Rothai watched his fleet being destroyed ship by ship. The humans were not winning through superior firepower. They were winning through pure aggression and the willingness to take risks that no sane species would consider. "How is this possible?" he asked his tactical officer. "They're just one primitive species." But even as he spoke, a human boarding party was cutting through his ship's hull. The sound of human voices echoed through the corridors, and with each passing minute, those voices grew closer to the bridge. The battle lasted only 4 hours. When it ended, the alien fleet was scattered and broken. Of the 3,000 ships that had arrived to destroy humanity, fewer than 500 escaped. The rest were either destroyed or captured by human forces, who seemed to grow stronger as the fighting continued. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of his damaged but victorious flagship, looking at the debris field that had once been the galaxy's greatest military force. His pupils were still dilated, his breathing still elevated. The battle was over, but his body remained ready for more combat. "Sir," Communications Officer Min reported, "we're receiving surrender transmissions from the remaining alien ships. Tell them to return to their homeworlds," Admiral Park ordered, "and give them a message for their leaders. Tell them that humans tried to be peaceful. We offered friendship and cooperation, but they chose to make us their enemy." He paused, looking out at the stars where human ships were already pursuing the fleeing aliens. "Tell them that they have awakened something that has been sleeping for too long. Tell them that the hunt has begun." Captain Ko's damaged ship limped back toward Earth, but her crew was already planning repairs and upgrades. They had tasted real combat for the first time in generations, and they wanted more. The same feeling was spreading through every human ship, every human colony, every human heart. The aliens had wanted to contain humanity's violent nature. Instead, they had given it a target and a purpose. They had reminded humans why they had evolved to be predators in the first place. As the surviving alien ships fled toward the edge of the solar system, they carried with them a new understanding of what humans truly were. They were not just another species to be cataloged and controlled. They were apex predators who had been pretending to be civilized, and now the pretending was over. General Choi stood in the war room deep beneath the mountains of Earth, surrounded by maps of the galaxy and reports from human fleets now spreading across space. 3 months had passed since the failed alien attack, and humanity had transformed itself into something the galaxy had never seen before, a species entirely focused on warfare. "Status report," General Choi commanded, his voice cutting through the busy chatter of military personnel. Colonel Bayek stepped forward with a data tablet. "Sir, our fleets have secured 17 star systems. The Trilaxian Empire has evacuated 4 of their core worlds. The Zolonian Republic is requesting immediate peace negotiations, and the Galactic Council has officially dissolved." General Choi nodded with satisfaction. The aliens had made a critical error in judgment. They had assumed that humans would fight like civilized beings, with rules, limitations, and concern for innocent lives. Instead, they discovered that humans fought like the apex predators they had always been. Dr. Shin entered the war room carrying prototypes of new weapons her team had developed. In just 3 months, human technology had advanced faster than it had in the previous 50 years. The pressure of real warfare had unleashed humanity's greatest strength, their ability to innovate under pressure. "General," Dr. Shin announced, "the new hunter-killer ships are ready for deployment. They're faster than anything the aliens have, and they can track enemy vessels across multiple star systems." She activated a holographic display showing sleek, predatory-looking ships that bore no resemblance to the peaceful exploration vessels humans had used before first contact. These were pure weapons designed for one purpose: hunting down fleeing enemies. "The aliens thought they could hit us once and then hide. Dr. Shin explained. But we've redesigned our entire fleet doctrine around pursuit and elimination. Every ship is now a hunter. Commander Bayek had been leading special operations against alien installations, and his reports painted a picture of an enemy that was psychologically broken. The aliens are abandoning their colonies faster than we can reach them, he reported. They're not even fighting anymore. They just run. This was exactly what General Choi had expected. The aliens had evolved on peaceful worlds where cooperation was the key to survival. Humans had evolved on a death world where only the strongest, fastest, and most aggressive creatures survived. When forced into direct competition, there was only one possible outcome. Captain Yu commanded one of the new hunter-killer ships, the Predator's Eye. Her mission was simple: track down the alien fleets that had escaped from the battle at Earth and eliminate them before they could regroup. Her crew of 30 had been selected for their ability to think like hunters rather than soldiers. "Contact," reported Navigator Lee, his pupils dilating with excitement. "Trilaxian convoy, 8 ships heading for the Vega system." Captain Yu felt her heart rate increase as her body prepared for the hunt. This was what humans had been designed for: tracking prey across vast distances and never giving up until the kill was complete. Set intercept course. Maximum speed. The chase lasted 6 days. The Trilaxian ships were faster in straight-line speed, but humans had learned to think like their prey. Captain Yu anticipated where the aliens would run, predicted their fuel stops, and cut them off at every turn. Her crew worked with the focused intensity of wolves pursuing wounded deer. When they finally cornered the alien convoy in an asteroid field, the Trilaxians sent a desperate message. "Please, we surrender. We have families aboard these ships." Captain Yu looked at her crew, all of whom now showed the physical signs of human predatory arousal: dilated pupils, elevated breathing, and total focus on their target. "Should have thought of that before you attacked our families," she replied. The engagement was over in minutes. Human weapons had become devastatingly efficient, designed not just to destroy ships but to ensure that no enemy could escape to fight another day. When it was finished, Captain Yu's crew felt the deep satisfaction that their ancestors had experienced after a successful hunt. Meanwhile, on the former Galactic Council worlds, panic was spreading through the alien populations. Dr. Yoon, who had first warned about the human threat, was now desperately trying to find a way to stop what she had helped create. "We have to make them understand that we made a mistake," she pleaded with the Emergency Council of Surviving Alien Leaders. "If we can convince them that we were wrong to attack them, maybe they will stop hunting us." But Commander Rothai, who had survived the battle at Earth, shook his head grimly. "You don't understand what we're dealing with, Dr. Yoon." I looked into their eyes during combat. I saw what they become when they smell blood. They don't want our surrender. They want our elimination. The truth was more complex than Commander Rothai realized. Humans didn't necessarily want to eliminate all alien life, but they had learned an important lesson from the unprovoked attack on Earth. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and only the strongest species would survive to protect their families. Admiral Park, now promoted to Supreme Commander of Human Space Forces, stood before a gathering of human fleet commanders. The meeting was taking place on New Sol, humanity's first colony world beyond Earth. In just 3 months, humans had gone from a single-planet species to an interstellar empire. "The aliens made a choice when they attacked Earth," Admiral Park announced to his commanders. "They chose to make this a universe where only predators survive. We didn't start this war, but we're going to finish it." The assembled commanders, Captain Ko, Colonel Beck, Captain Yu, and dozens of others, listened with the focused attention of pack leaders planning a massive hunt. Their eyes showed the same dilation that had terrified the aliens during first contact, but now it was permanent. Humanity had embraced its predatory nature completely. "Our mission is simple," Admiral Park continued. "We will hunt down every military force that participated in the attack on Earth. We will occupy every world that supported the decision to destroy us. And we will ensure that no alien species ever again has the capability to threaten human families." Dr. Shin presented the latest intelligence reports. 17 species have already surrendered unconditionally. 22 have evacuated their core worlds and are fleeing toward the galactic rim. The remaining species are begging for negotiations. "No negotiations," Admiral Park declared. "They had their chance for peaceful coexistence. They chose war instead. Now they get to learn what humans are really capable of when we stop pretending to be civilized. The transformation was complete. The humans who had originally wanted nothing more than to join the galactic community had become its apex predators. Every human child was now being raised with the knowledge that they were members of the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Every human school taught the history of the alien betrayal, and the lesson it had taught: trust only other humans, and be prepared to fight anyone else. On distant worlds, alien parents told their children stories about the terrifying humans whose eyes grew dark when they smelled blood. These stories were meant as warnings about the monsters that now ruled the galaxy. But they were also reminders of the greatest mistake their species had ever made. They had tried to destroy humanity because they feared human violence. Instead, they had created a universe where human violence was the only thing standing between them and extinction. The predators had risen to the top of the food chain, exactly where evolution had always intended them to be. General Choi looked at the galactic map showing human fleets moving across hundreds of star systems like packs of wolves claiming new territory. The hunt was far from over, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. Humanity had awakened from its brief dream of peaceful coexistence, and the galaxy would never be the same again. President Nam stood at the podium in the great assembly hall that had once housed the Galactic Council. 6 months had passed since the aliens' failed attempt to destroy humanity, and the galaxy was now under what humans called the Predator's peace. The hall was filled with representatives from surviving alien species, all of whom showed visible signs of stress whenever they looked at the human delegation. "The new galactic order is simple," President Nam announced, his voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. "Humans will maintain peace and security throughout the galaxy. In exchange, all species will contribute resources and information to human civilization. Anyone who refuses this arrangement is free to leave the galaxy." The assembled aliens listened in terrified silence. They had learned that arguing with humans was pointless and dangerous. When humans made decisions, those decisions became reality through force if necessary. Ambassador Ryu sat in the front row, representing humanity's diplomatic corps. His pupils remained slightly dilated even during peaceful meetings, a permanent reminder of what lay beneath humanity's civilized surface. Next to him sat Admiral Lim, whose fleets now patrolled every major star system in the galaxy. Dr. Kim had spent the past month studying the psychological effects of human dominance on alien species. Her research showed that most aliens had developed what she called predator trauma, a permanent state of anxiety triggered by human presence. The mere sight of a human could cause elevated stress hormones in most alien species. "The irony is fascinating," Dr. Kim explained to her research team. "The aliens destroyed their own peaceful galaxy by trying to preserve it. They created the very thing they feared most: a universe ruled by predators." Senator Zelmos, one of the few alien leaders brave enough to speak in human presence, raised one of his tentacles. "President Nam, surely there must be room for negotiation. Our species have coexisted peacefully for thousands of years." President Nam looked at the alien senator with the patient expression of a teacher explaining something to a slow student. "Senator, your species coexisted peacefully because you had never encountered real predators before. Now you have. The old galaxy is gone forever." The truth of these words was evident everywhere. Alien children who had once played games of exploration and discovery now played games of hiding and survival. Alien artists who had once created beautiful works celebrating life now created warnings about the dangers of attracting human attention. Entire alien cultures had been transformed by the simple knowledge that humans existed. Commander Beck entered the assembly hall with a report for Admiral Lim, his special forces teams had been monitoring the remaining alien civilizations for signs of resistance or weapon development. What they found confirmed humanity's new understanding of their role in the galaxy. "Admiral," Commander Bayek reported quietly, "the Zalonian Republic has completely dismantled their military. The Trilaxian Empire has converted all their warships into cargo vessels. Even the nomadic fleets have surrendered their weapons and are requesting human protection." Admiral Lim nodded with satisfaction. This was exactly what humans had expected. When faced with true apex predators, prey species always chose submission over extinction. It was a law of nature that applied throughout the universe. Captain Yu had been assigned to patrol the Outer Rim territories where some alien species had fled after the human takeover. Her ship, the Apex Hunter, was designed to track down any remaining threats to human authority. But what she found on the Rim worlds was not resistance, it was worship. "Captain," reported her navigation officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the refugee colony on Kepler 442b. The transmission showed a group of aliens who had fled their home worlds rather than submit to human rule. But 6 months of struggling to survive without the protection of galactic civilization had changed their perspective dramatically." "Great hunters of humanity," the alien spokesman said, his voice trembling with fear and desperation, "we request permission to return to human-controlled space. We cannot survive without your protection. We will accept any terms you offer." Captain Yu felt no satisfaction from this plea. The hunt was only interesting when the prey put up a fight. These broken creatures were no longer worthy opponents. "Granted," she replied simply. "Report to the nearest human administration center for processing." This pattern was repeating throughout the galaxy. Species that had initially fled human control were discovering that the universe was indeed a dangerous place. Without apex predators to maintain order, pirates, natural disasters, and resource conflicts were devastating the unprotected colonies. They had no choice but to return and beg for human protection. Dr. Shin continued her weapons research, but her focus had shifted from pure destruction to control and intimidation. Her latest project was a weapon that could disable entire fleets without destroying them. Humans had learned that live enemies were more useful than dead ones. "The goal is no longer to hunt for survival," Dr. Shin explained to her research team. "The goal is to hunt for dominance. We want other species to know that we could destroy them at any moment, but we choose not to as long as they remain useful." The children born in the new galactic order were different from their parents. Human children grew up knowing they were the apex predators of the universe. They learned about the great betrayal when the aliens tried to destroy Earth, and they learned why humans had to remain strong to prevent it from happening again. Young Nam was 7 years old and attended school on the colony world of New Busan. His teacher, Ms. Park, was explaining galactic history to the class. "Why did the aliens attack us?" young Nam asked, his young eyes showing the same predatory focus as his parents. "Because they were afraid of us," Ms. Park explained. "They knew that humans were stronger than them, so they tried to destroy us while we were still peaceful. But they learned that you cannot destroy a predator. You can only make it angry." The lesson was clear to every human child. Peace was temporary. Other species would always fear and resent human strength. The only way to protect human families was to maintain that strength and use it whenever necessary. President Nam concluded his address to the Galactic Assembly with words that would be remembered for generations. "The universe has taught us that there are only 2 types of species: predators and prey. For millions of years, our ancestors fought their way to the top of Earth's food chain. Now we have fought our way to the top of the galaxy's food chain." He looked out at the sea of alien faces, all showing the submissive postures of defeated prey animals. "We did not choose this role. You chose it for us when you tried to destroy our world. But we accept it willingly because we understand what you never could. Someone has to be the apex predator. Someone has to keep the peace through strength. Someone has to ensure that the weak are protected and the strong are controlled." The assembly hall fell silent except for the sound of alien breathing becoming faster and more shallow. Even in a peaceful setting, the physiological response to human presence was unmistakable. Ambassador Ryu stood to deliver the final message. "The Predator's peace is now and will always be maintained by human strength. You may not like this arrangement, but you will accept it. Because the alternative is not a return to your old peaceful galaxy. The alternative is chaos, and chaos is something only predators can survive." As the assembly ended and the aliens filed out of the hall, their movements showed the same careful, submissive body language that prey animals had used around predators for millions of years. They kept their heads down, moved slowly, and avoided direct eye contact with any human. The new order was complete. Humanity had not sought to rule the galaxy, but the galaxy had given them no choice. They had tried to be peaceful neighbors and been attacked for their efforts. Now they would be what the universe had made them, apex predators maintaining order through the simple threat of their presence. Children throughout the galaxy would grow up in a universe where humans were the ultimate authority. Some would resent this reality, but none would challenge it, because they had all learned the same lesson their parents had learned. When human pupils dilate at the smell of blood, it is already too late to run. The hunt was over. The predators had won, and the galaxy was finally truly at peace.